All right, welcome to UXPM meeting for release. So I put together a list of items I want to go through. Most of them should be pretty quick. It's mostly targeting questions at Orit, but I also have a question for you, Laurie, in there. And everybody's welcome to put in their feedback, as this is what this meeting is for, of course. I was seeing some issues being upgraded towards epics. And I just wanted to know what the workflow or idea is behind when we are promoting issues to epics, because there are some downsides in terms of visibility, at least for me personally, and just wanted to discuss a little bit.
So normally I promote issues when they become too large to be contained in one issue and they start having children. And that's when I start opening epics, because if from the conversation, this one issue turns into 4 or 5 issues, that's the way that I do it. It means that, I mean, the good thing about GitLab is that we have a lot of community contributions, especially on issues and feedback. And sometimes they just spawn out to like different use cases. And the way that I see epics, maybe this is wrong, but the way that I see it is it's like a container for issues that make sense to group together. There's also epics that are bigger than that hold epics. But when I promote an issue, it's usually because there's a lot of work to be done there, and it needs to be separated into like multiple issues.
Yeah, gotcha. That seems very logical to me, and sounds like a sound plan. The point where I'm less favorable towards epics is that there's no way to visualize them in issue boards, and there's no way to assign someone to them, making it a very like a weird experience as towards who's going to be pushing this. You know, like we have discussions on epics similar as issues, but they have all these downsides on epics. So my suggestion was, instead of promoting issues, which removes them from the issue board and without a trace, apart from them being closed, to always create a new epic and then include the issue into that epic as like the origin towards that epic.
So I completely agree with the fact that epic is not the best solution, because maybe we need to talk about plan about that. But the problem with associating an issue that has become an epic to the issue is that it's never going to be worked on because it's just too large. So the reason I like to promote issues is because it keeps all the history and the conversations and the upvotes.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's why I like to do that personally. I agree that there's no one assigned. There's another advantage to epics, which I really like, where you can see all the related issues and you can see when they're scheduled. So you kind of have a roadmap view of when this feature is actually going to be delivered. And
I wonder, yeah, like, or I wonder if we could just make an issue and promote that issue to an epic and then keep the original stuff. So like in the research repo, or not in the repo, sometimes I make an epic for research effort. So I'm actually creating a new issue and promoting it to an epic and then linking all the other stuff to it. So I don't know if that,
I'm open to anything because I just want a process that works, but
me too.
But the thing that bothers me about associating the issue is that we already got to the conclusion that the issue is too large to handle. So we know we need to split it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So why not promote that and then, you know, have all the original conversations from which we open up all the new issues. Because it spawns, you know, it's like rabbit holes.
Yeah, the thing becomes with the issue that, or at least when the issue has been promoted to an epic, then there still needs work to happen and discussion to happen in order for those issues to be scoped off, like those sub issues to be created, right?
Well, I
And
think that's kind of my responsibility to make sure that the issues get created, and then we can continue the conversations on a smaller scope.
Okay, so if I see it correctly, if an issue gets promoted to an epic, it is no longer intended for any milestone until like some sub issue gets created and new discussion is started on that.
Yes. So the new
Okay,
issue will
that's
probably be scheduled. So a really good example of one that I did this milestone was allow forked pipelines to run in parent projects. So this is like a 2 or 3 year old issue. Like 200 people responded on it. I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's like a lot of conversations have been there. There's a lot of also disappointment in the community that this keeps getting pushed out. And the reason that it's happening is because every time someone starts a new thread about a new use case that we didn't think about. So what I decided to do is, okay, we figured out 3 main use cases. Each one of them is going to be its own issue. Maybe we'll also open additional issues for it. And then we'll just start scheduling them because it was just too large to handle. I don't think anyone coming in, Dimitri, you're a great example because you're new to the team. There's no way you can understand what's going on there with 2 years of discussion and understanding. So this just makes it easier to scope out issues and continue on separate threads, in my mind.
Yeah,
yeah, makes sense.
I like that as well. This is how it makes sense. Like the epic is a huge, like a big initiative placeholder, and then we have a smaller items to describe the smaller works that executable. So as soon as we promote that issue to an epic and assign little ones to be assigned to the milestones and DRIs, that makes sense. Yeah.
And that's how I've been doing it. Sometimes I don't open, like I'm human, so sometimes I don't open everything I should at once. But that's why I have the epic, so it reminds me like, here, open up another iteration. But we definitely know what the first and second issues are. So there's at least a clear understanding of where this is going.
Yeah. Let's see. So I think we're pretty clear on that point. Let's skip on to the next. UX availability, I'm wondering about a little bit. I seem to miss out a little bit on some of the issues. And one of the pain points I'm experiencing is that there's too much to keep track of. There's too much to like, hey, Dimitri, please look at this issue. Please look at this issue. Oh, by the way, do this. And I want to do that all. Like that is the way that I would like to be, but I'm only one person. So I was wondering what your first thoughts are as towards how you would like to scope UX weight per milestone, so that I'm not overloaded and can be of best service to you.
So I have 2 suggestions. One of them I talked to Nadia this morning. So one of them is we already have a needs weight issue where we have the backend engineers, and this milestone we added the front end engineers, and we can have even a new addition for the next milestone to add UX so that you can be weighing issues and seeing if it's too large and to be scoped down, which is always at least 1 milestone ahead. So I think that's a really good idea. Another good place to do that is on the planning issue itself. We're trying to figure out the capacity, our capacity as a team. And we have, what we added like an average MRs per engineer for the last 3 milestones, which has been give or take 5 MRs per milestone. We could do that for you as well. I mean, figure out how many issues you can handle and just make sure that that's the capacity at max that we're scheduling. Again, since this is a beginning, we can just guess the first one. It doesn't have to be accurate.
Yeah, what do you think, Nadia and Lori? What is a considerable amount that you would expect for such a workload?
Are you talking about what is the number for the UX capacity or
per milestone?
I would say that you should answer that question, and you should answer that question by calculating. For example, we take 13.0. I understand that was your first milestone within the progressive delivery, but we should take that as a starting point, and you should analyze the work that you've done and say, hey, okay, because I was new, maybe it's plus 2 points, or I don't know how we're gonna even calculate that. We had a similar discussion about how do we exactly wanna estimate the capacity of UX? Is it story points? Is it hours? Is it I don't know, t-shirt sizes? I think what Hayana is using and Jackie, it's story points. So probably that's a good place to start. And I would suggest we go back, we look at 13.0. We say approximately, Dimitri, you spend like, I don't know, let's say 12 story points. And again, there's going to be, in the beginning, there's going to be really a relative kind of like guessing number. But then with every release, we have to look back and say, okay, we estimated too much or too little. With every release, we're going to get better. It's kind of like the AI machine mechanism. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, UX weighting is something that I also really would like to dive into. But go ahead, Lori.
Oh, I was just going to echo Nadia's sentiments. Everybody has their own velocity. Everybody has their own capacity. And the more that you try to weight things and see how much you got done, the better you can see and think about your future capacity and your future velocity. So the only caveat I will say is that whatever measurement you use, we should all agree on, but you're like the final sayer in it. So how I've done it in the past is I've done it much more formally, where we kind of go through each of the issues. You tell me what you're planning on doing with it. We'll do planning poker. That's what they call it. Like you show a card and you pick a number, Fibonacci sequence number, and we all have to agree on the number. If we don't all agree, we have to continue talking about the activity at hand until we understand, oh, that's a 5 for you. Okay, or that's an 8. Doing that over time, like taking a couple months to do that continuously, will help everybody's understanding of what the velocity is and what a 5 is and what an 8 is, what a 3 is. But we don't do that here. So I say, like, take your best guess at it, explain to us, like, hey, I put this at a 5 because of this. If you feel like you need to, but otherwise I would leave it up to you to tell me what that is, because a 5 for you is going to be different for me.
Yeah. Yeah, like, or do you feel confident in knowing which issues are going to be needed in terms of work that will be done by me in 13.2, for example?
Mm-hmm. We have a quarterly goal. We have everything planned in ahead. So I don't know per se how much work that is, but you can definitely see what I have planned. I do this every quarter. So I plan the next 3 milestones, where I can't tell you exactly what will reach each milestone, but they should all be in the quarter. Specifically for this quarter, I do have like guesstimations of what's going to be 13.1, what's going to be 13.2. The only thing that I can't tell you in advance is some of the issues have some kind of UX on it and are okay and fine, and some need to be redone. So I don't know how to estimate how much effort that is on your side, but I can tell you what needs some kind of UX attention.
Yeah, so like the thing I'm trying to prevent is like, say, we have the needs weight issue. You ask me for weighting on issues that I'll be working on in 13.2. So they will be implemented in, for example, 13.3.
Right.
That there will not be, additional issues suddenly scheduled that I would have not been able to wait and then suddenly have to attend to.
Well, that will always happen, but those are not the planned issues. The planned issues we know way in advance. Like all the P1 issues of the team, I know them well in advance. I'm gonna put a little small print on that because we did have one issue this milestone where we knew we were doing research on how to implement load balancers, and we knew that was gonna create new issues that we didn't know in advance. So that's the only one that I think we didn't know beforehand how or what we wanted to do there. but everything else we did know. And the ways
Yeah, because
that,
it was also the AWS issue, right? On
that one was there for like 2 months.
yeah, but it wasn't a P1 issue.
It was in the queue in the quarterly goals. And the way that I do it
was
everything that's in the quarterly goal is the P1. That's just the conversion.
All right, because it was prior to that, it was a P3 issue. So I think that brings more the question as to what is the single source of truth that I should uphold the highest? Is it label assignments and milestone assignments, or is it the quarterly and planning issues?
I'm going to say quarterly and planning, and I'll explain why. They're static, or at least you can see what's changing. Labels, anyone can put whatever they want. And so I have no control over them.
And I would add,
makes sense. Okay.
If I could add 2 cents, I would say to be searching for truth in talking often to each other. I feel like aligning on those, because like we're all kind of like in agile. It's all a bitsy floating sometimes. I agree with the read that things will arrive that we haven't been prepared for or planned, and that's kind of like okay. For me, important is that we are always communicating and saying, okay, hey, like that if a read has a UX thing that comes in and that has suddenly a super high priority, we could work together, say, hey, you know, we may delay this one, but let's include this one, and like, yeah, let's define what needs to be worked on here.
I set up new one-on-ones with Ora 2 times a week, so I think going forward that should be improved a lot. Tuesdays and Thursdays, the meeting day.
I don't know. I have meeting days all day. I've been in meetings today since 10 with Nadia, and I have them going till 6. I don't even know when I picked up my kids. I had like a 10-minute break. I was like, get yourself out of school. Stop talking to the teachers. I can only get you now. And I don't even know when I'm going to take my other one from daycare. I'm going to show you like how bad it is.
Just leave her there overnight. Save you some time.
Overlapping. I need to pick her up before quarter to 5, and I don't know when this is gonna happen.
No.
By the way, Orit, looking at your calendar, I see that you also have an overlap with this meeting. Like in 10 minutes, you also have to be in the Ops PM session. So, or we have to. Oh God, sorry for saying that. Or we have to move this a bit earlier, maybe 15 minutes earlier or 1 hour earlier. I don't know, because we have a conflict. Like at 10 minutes, I have to drop. It seems like Reed as well, of course.
Yeah. Mine's every 2 weeks, though. The ops toggles between Europe friendly and Pacific, so it's only once every 2 weeks.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Are we all right with me moving this a little bit earlier?
I'm fine. It's Lori has the problem.
This started at 7 o'clock my time in the morning. So if we move it an hour, that's 6 a.m. I will be here. I just may not be awake quite yet.
We will forgive you, Lori. We will clearly mention when we need your attention. Lori!
Yeah. So yeah, if you need to move it early, go for it.
What about 15 minutes earlier?
15?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so that's fine.
I'm okay with anything. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks all.
I don't. And I'm just gonna leave my kid in preschool.
Right. She'll just learn more.
Cool. Thanks. Then we're gonna rush through the next. Just wanted to ask, is suggesting UX dev to UI polish issues in this way? I left a little comment. There's this URL. Help with planning issues. I feel I might come in too late, or is this necessary for 13.2? We're trying to push for UX dev being reduced as a department-wide effort. So I was wondering, you know, is this helpful at all? What is your preferred way of working with this?
So I think it's good to put it in the planning issue as a suggestion. I do encourage you. I already opened a 13.2 planning issue today. I think you added your issues like last week for 13.1, which is a little bit late. So anything that you suggested, I may have added for 13.2, but 13.2 I just opened today, so everything's open, and that's a great time to add suggestions. Kenya as well, he asked me if we could do something urgently, and I was like, does urgently mean 13.2? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I prefer planning to be done. We already had a kickoff yesterday, the company-wide. So I really need basically the planning to be done by the 10th. So anything that you can do before is great. And then we can have a real conversation about it. I don't want you to think that I'm just not looking into things. I try to give everything an attention.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, like, hey, I don't want to be doing work that is not useful.
Yeah.
I see that Nadia put in a question. Can we align on picking one item every milestone? We're doing this with most of the other PMs.
Sure.
It's kind of, you know, like we kind of like agree on that. And of course, I understand that sometimes there is like, okay, guys, like we have to do this, for example, and otherwise we're going to die. But most of the time we try to make sure that we like include one of those things. And I think that's a nice way to meet in the middle. I understand that this milestone is a bit too late already, but thanks, Dimitri, for pushing this forward in the beginning. And I hope we could continue this in going forward.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Let me see. There's this issue. Which one is it? It's ability to associate feature flag with contextual merge request. So there was a pain point that came up during the UX Weekly, as in that feature flags might be intrusive for our review app workflow. I don't know for sure if this issue fixes that, but there might be extra incentive for us in that case to push this issue forward. I was wondering what you thought.
I don't understand the reason. Well, this specific issue has nothing to do with review apps. It's just showing related feature flag underneath, like where you have related issues. So I don't understand why this would be intrusive. Maybe it's a larger topic that we can talk about in the weekly feature flags, because I don't really understand it.
Yeah, so it was mostly like if a feature flag is enabled, but it like, or at least it's active, but it is disabled, then if the review app is spun up, then the new feature will not be visible within the review app. And we might be able to, you know, to do better there potentially. What do you think?
So we started with this conversation with epics, and I guess we'll go back to epics. I have an epic that talks about the connection between feature flags and review apps. It's a very powerful feature, and something that I talked to one of the analysts about, that's like one of the biggest advantages that GitLab would have for feature flags, is that you could basically see any kind of behavior in a review app, given that you set something. So I think this is a really huge topic. For this, I think if it doesn't show on the review app, it's fine. And I think we do need to think about in the future to discuss how feature flags and review apps work together. And I think it's even an opportunity, not only for solution validation, but also to charge.
Do you want us to log this, that this has been discussed in UX Weekly agenda as we're internal customers for this feature?
I didn't understand, I'm sorry.
So do you want us to make a record somewhere on an issue or epic that we as GitLab, as internal users, are requesting for this to be pushed forward as a data point?
I would like to prefer that to push the epic of feature flags and review apps together. Again, I don't really understand the connection to this specific issue, but we can talk about that in the
No, so I would say forget the issue. I thought, like, I did a quick pick of issues. I saw that issue. I thought maybe this has a connection to it. I changed my agenda point. Originally, my agenda point would explain, hey, is this issue, might that potentially have any correlation with this problem? It clearly does not. So let's throw that out of the window.
Okay.
Don't think about that issue anymore. It was mostly about like, hey, can we improve our review app feature flag functionality? And in that way, help not only our customers, but also ourselves, as this is a pain point shared across the UX department.
Yes, so let me find the epic and I'll share it. I'll add it in the agenda, and then we can talk about it there. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I'm afraid I have to drop in order to make the next meeting. Yeah, I moved, Dimitri, I moved the future sessions already. So you don't have to.
Oh, thanks.
You're so fast, Nadia.
You both have to drop?
Yeah, I have another meeting with the ops team too. If I could, though,
right.
ask Lori just one question.
Sure.
So I have been, I've done like 3 interviews so far with respondents for the post-deployment monitoring.
Oh, good.
And 2 of them were like not great.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what to do with that, or if like how to fill out the, there's the section after you interview where you say, this could have, but I don't know if they shouldn't get paid because it was.
I think they'll pay them. They just may not be offered to you again. So there's varying reasons of why people suck. So either they didn't want to give answers, or they weren't even the right person to even talk to, and they basically.
Yeah, it's the latter. It was like one of them was a developer and one of them was a security person, and it was totally irrelevant to what I was trying to get at. And I mean, I tried to make the most of it, but
Sure. Yeah. So what? Go ahead and like feel free to fill that. I think the feedback just goes to the system. I don't think it goes to them. But you can always just say like their profiles didn't match who I needed to talk to. That's usually what I say. And then in the issue, I would ping either Emily or Rupert, whoever helped you set it up, and tell them like, I need help. I need replacements for these 2. I don't know how to do that because I don't remember how to do that either.
Okay, and like, so here's another question. One of them, her name was Melissa. She like came up in the respondent, like she basically only fit gender, but she didn't match the role or the something else or the industry. So I'm wondering why that comes up anyway.
I don't know either. I know when I did it before, I had to actually look at their answers and then go to LinkedIn sometimes and see like who they really were, and then I would accept them or not. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm learning the system.
Yeah, it's not foolproof. I can tell you that much, unfortunately.
One of them was very good. The other 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So
Lori, are you able to stay for a few minutes longer?
Yeah, I can stay.
Awesome.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. Hey, thanks for staying a bit longer.
Of course.
I just had some questions on, let's first discuss this one. And then we do UX research, just wondering some thoughts there. But I registered for Dovetail, which looks very nice.
Yeah, I bet you might like it.
So if I understand correctly, this is going to replace our UX Insights repository, or is it more than that? I didn't look too much into it yet.
It is more than that. So we just met about this on Thursday as a research team. So Dovetail will be the thing we use moving forward to record our sessions, take notes for the session, so no more spreadsheets. And the platform also helps you to identify themes and insights. So it doesn't quite write them for you, but what it will do is go through the different sets of notes for a particular project, and you can tag things. So it kind of relies on tags, and it'll say, hey, look, this is kind of the same feedback you got about this one tag. Is that useful to you? And you can say yes. And you can say, make this an insight. So which I think just really tags it as an insight. And so to that point, we're going to be using that now to store our insights for research, with a hopeful thought to being able to use their API in the future to pull that also back into our insights repo, but we can't do that yet. So Sarah's made the decision that we will put the insights, leave them in Dovetail. So because Dovetail helps you create them, we'll just leave them in there and tag them appropriately. So she's working on a handbook page. She told me this morning over Slack that she'll publish that page, I think today. And then on Thursday or by Thursday, everybody else should have access to Dovetail. So I knew you were looking for something like this. So that's why I pinged you early to get early access to it so you could play around with it and look at it. But yeah, so that's the deal.
Thanks for that. So going forward, it is like it's fully okay to use that as the tool going forward. There's no need to like replicate that data in the existing UX research insights repository, etc.
Nope, exactly. She's going to update that process too in the handbook. She's like, oh my God, it's everywhere. So she's going to go and update it.
Gotcha. All right, that's good to hear. I wasn't fully clear on that. I know it was early days, but I thought it was a nice opportunity to ask you for that. Yeah, like I've been wanting to move A/B testing forward. There's some last task I need to attend to, and then we can start recruiting, and then it should be pretty fast to continue from there. Okay. What are your thoughts on taking on one research project per milestone, generally speaking?
For me to do, I can't.
No, for me, like for
you
as a. Mm-hmm.
I think it just depends on whatever else she's got going for you. So I think realistically, even when I was doing the research for Ori, I couldn't do one every milestone. It kind of ended up being maybe one every other one, because just with the sheer workload, you have to do your job, you have to prep for the research, you have to do the research, you have to wrap up the research, and then you have to also keep doing your design job too. So I would say you could probably I would be confident that you could get one done every other milestone, and then maybe Ori can do the other one the other milestones, if that will work out between the two of you.
Give me a second. Can alternate.
Yes, that's the word.
For optimum cadence.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was wondering, because there's always been one which has been bugging me. Less like, hey, the minimum I can see, like for me, if I really push it, is like 5 weeks, and that's just a bit longer, and it's always going to delay. And I was like, how are people doing this within one milestone? I really don't get this.
They aren't, unless it's a researcher, because that's our full-time job. So they can't. They just can't. So don't push it too hard. You know, I'd rather you spend the bulk of your time doing the job that you have talent for, which is the design job, than trying to shove the research in there. So I'd rather you take more time for the research and then focus on your design job.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. Then for this, we're pretty much done. I'll be pushing this forward. Okay. Oh, by the way, a last question is, we have the maturity scorecard.
Yes.
Yes. Scorecard. So the thing is, A/B testing is going to leak into 13.1. Maturity scorecard is originally planned for 13.1 after 13.0 for A/B testing. As we just discussed, it's kind of hard to put both things into one.
Yeah.
How is the maturity scorecard process versus like timeline? As in, like, how, like, are we bound to a certain time frame in order to complete this?
No, as far as I know, you're not. And I don't know if product has their own timeline, but we don't on our side. Like, it's something that is supposed to be agreed upon between UX and product, that, hey, it's time to do this. Let's try to get this done in this time frame. But that's set between you and Orit. So it shouldn't be dictated by anything else outside, unless product decides. I mean, you know, whatever they're doing on their side. But
all right, thanks for that. And last question is, I saw your reply in I've like cleaned up the agenda a little bit. I just deleted a lot of the discussion because it was just convoluting the agenda to no end. Chorus AI, I think this is like a wealth of information we're not using yet. I was wondering how, how trustworthy it is. Is it being used by anyone? Like, what are your general thoughts on it? I see you already posted like a comment there.
Yeah, I think some of the researchers, I want to say Jeff might have been going into Chorus and looking for stuff for growth. I know some of the PMs go in there and look for stuff, but I don't know if anybody's doing it on the regular. So but I love your idea of suggesting in the template, not only did you check the repo, but did you check Chorus and then like other sources of past research or past customer notes or whatever we want to call it. As I agree, I think there's a lot of stuff in there. I don't know if everybody even knows it exists.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well. So how about this? I'll add it in the merge request, or I'll create a merge request, add it in the issue template, and then we'll see if it becomes more well known from there. I still need to, like, I'm registered, I can go into it, but it's a large tool. There's a lot of things to explore. So it's also something like, I want to dive into this, but there are just more pressing things than that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, trades. All right, thanks for that. Any more points from you to me personally?
Just let me know how I can help. I know with the time zone differences, it's hard, but Orit always has so much that she wants to get done. She's very optimistic. So let me know how I can help with anything, either corralling or being the go-between I don't know, whatever you need, I'm here to help you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I mostly send you a DM when I.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
Like,
that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
All right, Dimitri.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.